Hello, everyone. My name is Ezekiel, and I work at Klipfolio as a customer success guru. My job is to ensure that you have the tools at your disposal to make you successful so that you have a great time while you're building in Klipfolio. Today, we're going to be covering an intro to Klipfolio. It's going to be an overview on how we can build in Klipfolio and how Klipfolio can be that dashboard solution that you've been looking for. So today I'm going to show you three very simple steps on how we work with Klipfolio. Step number one, we're going to work on connecting your data. There's two very specific ways that we used in Klipfolio to connect your data, and we're going to go over them today. Second, we're going to use that data that we have connected, and we're going to be building clips, which is the term that you're going to be hearing several times throughout this webinar. And clips is the term we use in Klipfolio for widgets or pieces of visualization. Those clips will be altogether a dashboard. So we can say that a dashboard is a collection of clips. And last, we're gonna end this webinar with sharing the data that we just built. So we're gonna be sharing the different dashboards that you have built in the platform, and there are three very specific ways that you can do that as well. So we're going to go ahead and show you how we do that as well. So why don't we get started? What you see right now, it's the platform with a few dashboards that I've created in the past. So today we're going to be starting totally from scratch. And as I said before, I'm going to be following those three simple steps to get you to really understand how Klipfolio works and whether this is the right tool for you or not. So let's get started. We're gonna start in our data source tab right here on the left side of the screen. I'm just gonna click that data source tab, and that will take me into the collection of all the different data sources that I can have. One of the greatest things in Klipfolio is that you can have an unlimited number of data sources, and you can mash data together within one clip or widget. So let's go ahead and create a new data source. So this is the first time we're gonna be creating a data source. In Klipfolio, we have two different ways to connect your data. We have the service connectors, which you will see on the left side of the screen, and you will have the core connectors on the right-hand side of the screen. So let's explore the difference between those two. If I move into the service connector, here's where you're gonna find the gallery of all the different integrations Klipfolio has. So it'll show you all the different services that we connect to. And again, that we have already created a connection with. For those that are interested, the connections that we create, it's an API. So there are different queries that we use to bring specific data right into Klipfolio so that you can use it. Today, I'm going to be showcasing Google Analytics, very popular data source. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm going to type the word Google, and that will bring anything that we integrate with that will have that word. So we're gonna start with Google Analytics. So I'm gonna click that logo, and that will bring me into this new window where it will tell me to pick the data that I want to request. There are two ways to do that. The first one is by selecting some of the queries that are already built in here. So for example, this particular query will bring sessions for the last year. So it'll bring how many sessions you had in a different device category. So whether your users are visiting your website through a desktop, a mobile, or a tablet. So if I were to simply select that, I can just go ahead and click on it. The first thing that is going to ask me is to authenticate my credentials. So I will enter my first name and last name. Just for the sake of time, I already did that. And you can see my token has been authenticated. So now I'm gonna move to the next step, which is going to be to select my account. So for those that are working with several accounts, under analytics accounts, you can select the different accounts. I only have one, so I'm just gonna keep the one that I have. And I'm simply gonna press get data. You're gonna see that that will create that data, and this is giving me the information that I needed. Three very simple columns: the category of the device, the date that those sessions happen, and the number of sessions per day. Once this is done, I can just simply click continue, and I'm going to be saving it as a sessions by device type. I'm going to refresh it every 30 minutes, and now I can just simply save it, and that will go into my data source library. If I click back into the data source tab, you can see that in here, I have all the different data sources that I have created over the time that I've been working with Klipfolio, but specifically sessions by device type is the very last one that I've created. So let's go back to that and let's create a new data source again to bring us back to the connector gallery. So as I mentioned before, we can either explore anything that's on the left side of the screen, but now let's take a look at how we can create a custom data source with some of the, again, some of the services that we are integrated with. So if I go back using the Google Analytics example, I selected something from the pre-built content that we have in here. But if I go and I create a custom Google Analytics data source, that will give me the ability to create something completely custom. So I'm going to press next, and that will take me into the configuration data source page. And here, all I need to do is select the profile ID, which if I click in this, it will show you where you can find it. You will select the dimensions. So maybe I'm interested to know to track my campaigns, and I want to track how many users are visiting my campaigns and how many new users. And maybe I want to select in a specific time period only for the last 90 days. Once I press get data, that will bring the data that I need. If you're used to working with queries, there's something very cool that we can do. We can just simply switch this simple to advanced mode, and that will switch the language from having that very simple mode on how to build that query to this one. And all you need to do here is just simply change your profile ID, and that will bring the very specific data that you have selected. So now that we've discovered that, we're going to go back 2 steps back to the selector gallery, where we can pick anything else that we need. So we explore the connectors that we have integrated with. Now let's explore the core connectors. You're going to find in here, there are 5 different ways that you can connect your data to Klipfolio. So if you're looking for a specific CRM system that we do not integrate with, which means it's not on the service connector gallery, then we're going to be using here. The very first one is upload a file. This will give you the ability to simply upload a file into Klipfolio that will give you the chance to manipulate your data. Keep in mind that when you do this, the data that is being uploaded, it's completely static, which means that if you make any changes in your data, those changes will not be reflected in Klipfolio unless you re-upload a file. A way to keep the data dynamic is by connecting us to some service connectors like, for example, Google Drive, OneDrive, Box, and Dropbox. So you can use some of those connectors that will keep your data dynamic. Just keep in mind the 4 files that we support are JSON, CSV, XML, and Excel. Now I'm going to move to the next one. This is the REST/URL. This is simply an API connector. So if I click on it, in here, the 2 things that you need to keep in mind are, 1, we connect to only REST APIs. So you have to make sure that the service that you're connecting to has a REST API we can get the data from. Second is the method of authentication. So take a look at the different types of method of authentication that we support. And if they meet that criteria, then we should be able to connect to your data and bring anything that you need. So this is, once again, the API connector. So let's go ahead and go back to the main page to keep exploring the other ways that you can do that. The SQL query, it's very similar to the API, where you will write an SQL query. Right in here, you will execute the query, and that will bring the data from your SQL database. We also have FTP and SFTP servers that we connect to. So once again, you need to have this information in order to connect to that server. And once we connect, then we should be able to pull any data that you might have available in there. The last one, very popular as well, email attachment. What this allows you to do is to creates this unique email address that you can put in your CRM system, so that every time your CRM system is emailing reports to you, it will email them straight to Klipfolio. And that way we should be able to get that data. So there you have it. Step number 1 is completed. We explore how we connect your data to Klipfolio. You can use the service connectors with any of the integrations you see on the screen, or you can explore the core connectors for those services or CRM systems that perhaps we haven't built an integration yet. If you do have any questions about a specific database that you're trying to connect to, you can absolutely reach out to us to support@klipfolio.com, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with that. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to step number 2, build in Klipfolio. So I'm going to click on the Active Dashboard tab, which will take me sort of to the home page. And now we can start taking a look and seeing how we're going to be building our first dashboard. So as you can see, right beside to the right of the Active Dashboards tab, I have a plus button that I can click, and that will give me the ability to create a blank dashboard. So I'm going to go ahead and add that, and that will be my brand new dashboard. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start adding clips to this dashboard that will start bringing that vision dashboard that we have to life. So let's go ahead and add our first clip to our dashboard. First, I'm going to be exploring the clip gallery. The clip gallery, it's different services that we integrate with that we have created some pre-built content for you. So once again, let's explore Google Analytics, since I happen to have an account with it and I can easily demonstrate that. So you can see here, there's lots of different clips that I can grab from here, and there's absolutely no building involved, which means we will be skipping step 3. So if we want our website performing and we want to know how that is doing, we can just simply add it to the dashboard, and that will be added. Maybe if I'm interested to know how many sessions per region I'm having, I can just simply add it to the dashboard. Once I press done, I'm going to have the 2 clips that I have added to my dashboard. I can now connect my data. So press connect data on this orange button. I'm going to connect it to the first clip. I'm going to select the account that I want. And now I'm going to go to the second clip and do the exact same. Now I have 2 clips that are connected to my data. I'm going to move this one right to the top so that I have them side by side. I can also change the layout if I want to. Press in this button. I can add more columns if I want, or I can remove some columns if I want. So I can really completely customize however I want the layout of my clips to be. I'm going to make this one a little bit bigger, and there we have it. So now we have 2 clips that we just simply brought from the pre-built content gallery. If you want to bring more clips, you can absolutely do that. But now let's go ahead and let's explore what it looks like when you are building a completely custom clip. So let's add a new clip. We're going to press now the build a custom clip option, and that will take you into the clip editor. For today, I'm going to keep it very simple, and I'm going to be building a barline chart. Again, this barline chart is going to be very, very, very simple. If you're interested in learning more techniques and more different methods of building in Klipfolio, I would encourage you to check out Build in Klipfolio workshop. That's a great workshop that will get your hands really dirty in the clip editor. So let's go ahead and let's build something. So I'm going to tell you very quickly what you're seeing on the screen. On the right hand side, it's going to see all the different components that we use in Klipfolio to visualize your data. In the middle is where I'm going to make this bigger, is where you're going to see your visualization come into life. So let's go ahead and drag a barline chart right into the middle of the screen. Let's drop it. And now we can start to see how our barline chart is developing as we start working with it. Now at the bottom is where I'm going to add my data. So I'm going to go ahead and add data. And what I'm going to be doing for this example is I'm going to be using some data sources that you have in the platform when you sign in for the first time, so that you can practice and do this at home. So let's go ahead and select this sales booked data source. So I can see all my data. It's right in here. And if I take a look at it, this is a sales data source. So it would only be appropriate for us to make a sales clip. So what we're going to do is, I'm probably interested to know, if I take a look at this last columns where I have my revenue, so maybe I'm interested to see how every city that I have in this data source is performing. So we're going to call this one the top 5 cities in revenue. We're going to be specific in here. So this is what I'm going to be building. So I like to put a title so that I always know what I'm trying to envision in here. So we're going to start with the x-axis. So in the x-axis, I'm going to go to the data tab and I'm simply going to select what I want to see on my x-axis. In this case, I want to see the city. So I'm going to select a column H. Keep in mind that this data is going to be totally dynamic, and as this data source is updating, my clip will update at the same time. I'm going to move into the properties and make a few changes to keep this a little bit more organized and a bit cleaner. So I'm going to first change the label angle. I want the labels to be diagonal. And I'm missing some labels, and the reason is because the drop labels, it's auto. I'm gonna say do not drop any labels, and then you're gonna see there's lots of data. So why don't we go and group any repeating labels so that that gets a little bit cleaner, and we were able to do that. And now let's add a filter to eliminate the column header, which happens to be the word city. So I'm going to write the word city up here. I'm going to select it, exclude it from my table, and once I filter it out, it's been eliminated. That will eliminate that entire row. So when I eliminate city, I'm also eliminated that entire row, which the word revenue will not be included. So now that I have all that data clean and organized, the last step is to go back to my properties and just simply name it cities. So now let's move into our series, and this is going to be our y-axis, and we're going to select column S because we want to see our revenue. So in our properties, let's call this our revenue. And because automatically it's selecting it as a number, just because there's no dollar sign, so it doesn't know that it's actually currency. But we can simply deselect that, select it as currency, and then when I say show values on chart, I can see the dollar sign in there. If you're working with a different currency, you can change it to pounds, you can change it to euros, whichever the case may be. For this example, I'm just gonna keep it as dollars. So now that I have it, I can say that my clip is done. However, I'm still not meeting the criteria of this title. I only want to see the top 5 cities. Very simple. The same way that we filter out the column header in the x-axis, we're going to filter out every city that is not a top 5. So let's add a filter and let's go to the top and bottom option, and we're going to say, just give me the top 5. And when I filter, I will only see the top 5 cities that are bringing the most revenue. Very simple. Let's go ahead and save that. Let's keep it as top 5 cities in revenue, finished, and that will be added to my dashboard. So there you have it. Now we have a dashboard that has a combination of pre-built content and also a clip that's already been customized. So now that we are ready to start sharing this dashboard, I'm gonna show you the 3 ways that you can do that. First, you can go into users and you can create different users that can access the platform. Each user can have a different role, or you can create a custom role and you can add those permissions. This will give you the ability for those users to visit the platform and to take a look at the different dashboards that you want. You can also restrict the different permissions, but you can also restrict what dashboards and what clips you want those users to see. You as the administrator will have the ability to control everything that is going on in the platform. Whether you want to create new dashboards, you want to create new users, or you want to make simple changes like your credit card and on file, or if you want to change the email address, etc. So creating users is a great way for you to share your dashboards. Another way is by clicking on the 3 dots right beside the word new dashboard, and you can just simply press share. That will give you options for you to share it. So what I'm going to be doing is demonstrating how we can do it as an email. If I click on an email, you would select the different users you want to share with. Keep in mind the formatting is going to be a PDF or image, which means the data is static. But what if you want to send this dashboard to your CEO every Monday morning so that when he starts his day, he gets at 8 o'clock that dashboard and knows how he performed last week? I can simply click on this link, set up or manage an existing recurring schedule email. I'm going to set up an email snapshot. And what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to, where it says schedule, I'm going to change it to weekly. And I'm going to select to be every Monday morning. You will select the time zone where you are located. And this will be, this dashboard will be emailed to those users every Monday morning at 8 o'clock. Very simple. Now, let's go back and let's take a look at the last way that we can share, which is probably one of my favorites, if I can be a little biased here. I'm going to press a share, and I'm going to share this dashboard with a link. So what this link does, it creates a dynamic link. And this is the reason why I find it one of my favorite ways to do it, because it really gives you the option to share this with people that might be using the platform or might not be using the platform. This can also be password protected if your data is sensitive. And basically, this is how it looks. I can just say manage publish links in here. You can delete them if you don't want them. But every time you create a link, the person that is receiving that link doesn't have the ability to make any changes, but the data is totally dynamic. So let's go ahead and create one. Share, publish a link, and we're going to publish it now. The link is very unique, and I'm going to be testing it. This is what they get. They're going to see the dashboard. The data is totally dynamic. The different user input controls are also completely dynamic, where you can change that, and the data will change. On the right-hand side, where it says company, you'll see your company logo, and on the left side, you will have the name of your dashboard. So there you have it. So I'm going to go ahead and close it, go back to the platform in here. And here was this company. Here's where you can edit it. And again, I can simply have a logo that I want, or I can change it to the name of my company, however you find it fits. So there you have it. So this is how you can build in Klipfolio. So if we take a look again, we were able to connect our data. We explore the service connectors and the core connectors. We learn how to use pre-built content as well as the clip editor, combine them together to create a powerful dashboard. Last, we use some users to be able to share those dashboards. We learn how we can schedule reoccurring email reports. And last but not least, we publish a link that will allow hundreds of users to be able to take a look at those dashboards. So we accomplished what we wanted. However, I'm sure you're wondering, Exequiel, how can I get help once I start working with Klipfolio? Which is a great question. So let me show you that. What we're going to do is I'm going to go back to the platform, and I'm going to show you two very great ways for you to get help. Number one, right at the bottom, you're going to find this little question mark. If you click on it, that will launch the Klipfolio Help Center, where you have lots of resources. We also have this little first icon, which will launch the chat box that will give you the ability to talk to us live so that you can resolve any issues that you might have. We also have a support website. So the support website, it is support.klipfolio.com. And this support website will give you the ability to navigate all the things that you want. If you want to join live webinars, if you want to take our courses, if you want to explore our YouTube channel, or if you just simply want to get certified in Klipfolio. Also, you're going to find the knowledge base. There's a community where you can talk to us, tell us how you're doing, any questions you might have. You can also submit a ticket if you're experiencing any type of issues, or you don't know really how to build something. And book a call if you really want to get a one-on-one time with one of us so that we can better help you with your specific use case. So once again, this is support@klipfolio.com, which is our help center. I hope that you find this workshop or webinar useful. I hope that you're very successful with Klipfolio. I hope that you have the ability now to start exploring Klipfolio a little bit further. You start building some dashboards, use some of the pre-built content, mix it with the editor, maybe register to actually be in a live webinar so that we can learn more about you. You can learn more about us. For now, this was Intro to Klipfolio. Thank you so much for listening, and happy dashboarding.